It's Jack from B&T MacFarlane, and today we're going to be going over the brand new LX2620. So let's get into it. So I'm really excited today to be talking about the brand new LX2620 from Kubota. This fits in Kubota's LX lineup. So if you remember, the previous generation of this was the LX2610. It was wildly popular. It was the LX2610 and the LX3310. So in the new model, they have the 2620, 3520, and 4020. And just like Kubota does, the first two numbers, that is the horsepower, and the last two numbers is the series generation, so the LX20 series. So this is the 26 horsepower version. There's also a 35 horsepower version and a 40 horsepower version. All three of the models come in a cabbed model like you see here that has heat, air conditioning, and a radio. So it's basically like driving your car. Or they all come in a open station version. Unfortunately, I don't have one right here, but I will try and find a video of one and insert it somewhere so you can get an idea of what that looks like. With our Ottawa winters, the cab version is by far the most popular model that we sell here. Has the heat for the winter when you're using it for snow clearing, and then in the summer you have the air conditioning because it is pretty hot. It's been about 40 degrees Celsius here for the past week. It doesn't look like it's going to get any cooler anytime soon. So now we're going to get into the rest of the tractor video, the overview. We're going to start up at the front bucket and then work our way back. So starting up at the front of the LX2620, it has the same loader as the 2610, so that is not a new feature on this, and that's not a bad thing either. The LA535 was a fantastic loader. If you know anything about Kubota loaders, the number of the loader is actually the lift capacity in kilograms. So the LA535, that means 535 kilograms of lift capacity, and that's measured to the top of the lift height. So if you're lifting stuff, say a foot off the ground, you can expect to get quite a bit more lift capacity than the 535 kilograms. These loaders, they all come standard with skid steer style front quick attach. So at the front here, you have the two gray levers, pull up on both sides, the bucket will come off, and then you can put on some various other attachments. You can get a grapple for the front of these, a set of pallet forks, snow pushers, snow blades. Pretty much anything that fits on the skid steer style quick attach will fit on the front of this loader. The standard bucket on this as well is the 54-inch bucket. You can see it right here. It has the bolt-on cutting edge on the front. So basically that's just a replaceable piece of metal. Instead of grinding down your expensive bucket, you're gonna be wearing down a $200 piece of metal that you can replace. That hook there is extra, so we did add that for a customer, but definitely if you want something like that, we can add it here at the dealership. It also has a rod level indicator as well, which is really handy if you're new to using a tractor and you're not entirely sure when the bucket is completely level when you're using it. This is especially handy when you're using a set of pallet forks, going into the pallet, making sure it's level, lifting it up level, making sure you don't drop whatever it is you're lifting. So now we're going to talk about the engine on the LX2620. It's powered by a 26 horsepower Kubota diesel engine. If you know anything about diesel engines, DPFs, and all that emission regulation that they've come out with in the past 15 years or so, it's anything over 26 horsepower has to have a DPF on it. So the LX2620, since it technically sits below 26 horsepower, I know we say 26, but it's actually about 25 horsepower. It does not have a DPF on it. It's actually the smallest tractor you can get with a cab that does not have DPF. So with that being said, the rest of the LX lineup, the LX3520 and the LX4020, both have a DPF on them. In order to pop the hood, it's actually kind of a trick there. You just grab the emblem and then you twist it sideways, and then you're able to lift open the hood. And then you'll have access to the entire engine compartment. Everything's really easily accessible. And like I mentioned, there's no electronics on this engine. You don't have to worry about a DPF or any regeneration cycles going on with this. And everything's really easily accessible. At the front there, you'll have access to your batteries. So in the event that you do have to boost it, or eventually you will have to change the battery, it's really easy to get it at the front. And then you have your radiator system at the front here as well. There is a radiator screen as well that you do have to clean out occasionally, especially if you're gonna be mowing with this tractor. It gets dusty, it gets dirty, so make sure that does stay clean. Back a little bit further is your air filter, and again, just make sure that's clean. And then down below, if you pop off those side panels, you'll see where you're able to change the engine oil filter. Later in the video, we'll look at where the hydraulic oil gets filled up, and that's at the back of the tractor. So before we jump up inside the cab and talk about some of the features inside, we have to talk about the outside of the cab. So it's remained roughly the same from the LX2610. And again, that's not a bad thing. The LX2610 was an unbelievable tractor. It was loaded with features. So this one here, it still keeps the LED work lights front and rear. It has the rear window defroster, full glass cab, radio and mirrors come standard from factory. The LX2610 was an amazing tractor, so I'm really happy that they took some of the features from that cab and brought it over to the new LX2620. So I'm inside the cab of the brand new LX2620 and it is extremely comfortable. The main difference between the LX2610 and the LX2620 is that new suspension seat. So it is a brand new seat. It is significantly comfier. The one in the 2610 wasn't bad, but once you sat in a seat like this, it is very difficult to go back. And as Kubota goes inside of cabs, they're all laid out roughly the same. Everything's color coded. So anything in orange is going to control part of the drive system of the tractor. So think movement, moving the tractor forward, reverse, getting more torque, less torque. The main lever you're going to be using is this throttle lever here. It's on the right hand side. So that's how you control the engine RPMs of the tractor. So it's not like your vehicle where when you press the gas pedal or the HST pedal forward, you're going to get more revs, more power. It's not like that. You do have to manually rev it up on the LX2620. If you see my video on the LX4020, you will know that that tractor actually comes with auto throttle. So it does operate like your car. So when you press that forward HST pedal, you will get more revs. On the 2620, you do not have that feature. Over here, you're going to have your cruise control. That's another orange lever, so you can set the speed on your HST pedal. So if you're mowing large, wide open fields, that is pretty handy because you're able to just set your speed, forget about it, and just mow and then listen to the radio or whatever you want to do. And then you have your high, medium, and low range over here. So high, that's going to be moving point A to point B. So think moving down the road, driving to your neighbor's house to help them. Top speed on this tractor, it's roughly about 20 kilometers an hour. Medium range, that's a pretty good working range. That's where you're going to probably spend about 99% of your tractor using time in. And then low range, that's when you're really going to need torque. So that's when you need to drive into a pile of gravel, pick something up that's extremely heavy, or if you're pulling out something that's heavy as well. Anything in yellow controls part of the PTO system. So this tractor here, it has a rear PTO, so that's able to run implements off the back of the tractor. It also has a mid PTO as well. So you're able to run a mid-mount mower deck, and you're also able to run a front snowblower on this tractor. So that's where you control where the PTO goes out, the back and the rear at the same time, or the mid. And then you also have the PTO on and off switch here. Something that we see about once a week, we get a call saying my tractor won't start. It's because you left the PTO switch on. It is fairly easy to happen. I explain it to a lot of people, they're like, no, it would never happen to me, but it does. When you get out of the tractor, you can snag your jacket or your pants on this and flip it on. And then when the PTO is on, your tractor won't restart. So if your tractor ever doesn't start, check this first. That's probably why it isn't starting. And then anything in black is going to control part of the hydraulic system of the tractor. So black loader lever up here, that's going to control the operation of the front bucket. And then a black gray switch over here, that's going to control the 3-point hitch. There's a backhoe on this tractor right now, but if it wasn't, you'd have your 3-point hitch, and that's how you raise it up and down. And then on the dash, there's going to be all your switches and features here. So you're going to have your front and rear LED work lights. You're going to have your LED headlights, which is actually a new improvement on the 2620. 2610 had halogen headlights. I know it's kind of silly to be talking about LED headlights as a big improvement in 2025, but Kubota, the Japanese, they are very slow to come out with changes like that. They want to make sure it's perfect before they do. So that is a nice upgrade on the 2620. And then you're going to have your front and rear windshield wipers. Up top, you're going to have your AC control, rear defrosters, radio. And then there's also a parked PTO switch. So if you do get a wood chipper on this tractor, you're able to press the button, put the tractor in park, and then run a wood chipper out the back while it spins without being physically in the seat. And I think that pretty much covers the entire inside of the cabs. Now I'm going to hop out and take a look at the back. So now taking a look at the back of the tractor. This one's kind of nice because we don't sell a whole lot of backhoes on these tractors, and it is nice to get a visual for how big the backhoe is back here. So it is a BH77 backhoe. It is made by Kubota, and it does fit this tractor. It also fits the L02 series, so that would be like your 2502, 3902, 3302, those tractors. And again, Kubota loves their numbers, so 77 is the digging depth, so it's about 7 feet 7 inches down of digging depth. which is pretty substantial for a tractor of this size. The backhoe comes off extremely easily. It comes off in about 2 minutes with a couple of pins and a couple of hoses. Once you get that backhoe off, you're able to put the 3-point hitch on, and then you have a regular tractor. So then you can get different implements that you might want, like a tiller, rotary cutter, rear mount finishing mower, and then you can also get a rear snowblower on this as well. This tractor isn't equipped with it, but a lot of them do go out with a set of rear hydraulic remotes. So those are hydraulics on the back of the tractor that allow you to control the rotation or deflection of a snowblower. And then some other implements like a log splitter might have use for those hydraulics as well. On the back of the tractor too, you will notice a couple of key things that you probably want to be made aware of. There is the windshield washer fill up here, and then here you have your hydraulic dipstick. So that's that here. As long as the fluid is in between the two lines, you have enough fluid. And then this is also where you fill up the hydraulic fluid. Other than that, that is pretty much it for the back of the tractor. So now we're going to take a little bit of a closer look at the backhoe on the LX2620. It is the exact same backhoe as the 2610, although the backhoes are different between the cab version and the open station version. So on the cab version, obviously since the seat is inside the cab, you don't have a swivel seat that spins around and then you are able to use it one in the same seat. You actually get a secondary seat that hangs off the back of the cab. So I'm not super tall. I'm about 5'9", 5'10" on a good day. And I would say that this is enough room for me. But if you're any taller, you might want to go down to your local dealership, take a look at one if they have one in stock, and definitely sit on it before you buy it, because this is a fairly big investment. As of right now, June or July, I guess now, 2025, they're about $14,000 to add to your tractor. So definitely before you make that kind of decision, come down, take a look at one and see if it actually fits you and if it's something that you would want to use. The standard bucket on these is a 16-inch tooth bucket with the mechanical thumb. So that mechanical thumb is nice because you're able to grab rocks, grab logs. If you're making a little retaining wall, you can grab rocks that are all the same size and then place them a little bit easier. You obviously have your two stabilizer arms there. So those get controlled with these two levers right here. And then those will go down and then stabilize your tractor. And then that's it for the backhoe on the LX2620. We're gonna talk about some tire choices next. So tire choices on the LX2620, they're pretty standard in terms of tractor tires go. You're gonna have the R14 tires here, which is by far the most popular tire that we sell on this tractor and on, honestly, compact tractors in general. If they have R14s available, they're typically getting sent out with them. So they're a nice mix between a turf tire and a normal industrial tire. So they're not gonna rip up your lawn as bad as an industrial or agricultural tire will, but they're also going to be more aggressive than a turf tire. So they're going to be way nicer running in off-road scenarios, running in the snow. They also have a 6-ply sidewall. So a turf tire, they generally have thinner ply sidewalls, which means that they're more susceptible to bulging if you have a heavy load in the front bucket. If you're going over tree stumps and rocks and stuff, they are more susceptible to punctures and things like that. Again, you can also get turf tires on this. Like I mentioned, you can get ag tires, R4 industrial tires. On the LX series in general, you have two sizes of tire option. You have these are the standard R14 sizes. You can also get a large size R14 tire. So it's gonna be 2 inches taller on the front and the rear. Gives you a little bit more ground clearance, and it makes the tractor just look a little bit beefier, a little bit taller. So we typically sell those on the 3520 and the 4020. Since they have a higher profile hood, it looks a little bit weird with the smaller tires and the bigger hooded tractor. We sell typically the larger ones on those two models. On the LX2620, we sell typically the smaller size tractor tires, because with the smaller R14s, you can still get a mid-mount motor deck, but once you upgrade to the larger R14 tires, you're no longer able to put that mid-mount motor deck on this tractor. So that's where we're gonna wrap up the video for today. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. If you're enjoying the videos, remember to like and subscribe. And if you need help with parts, sales, or service, give us a call at 613-225-0555. Thank you.